Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Spencer the Guru Urquhart coming at you live here this afternoon for another edition of the Fantasy Roundup. Hope everyone's doing well out there. I just got back from my little vacation and am now ready to dive back into this fantasy talk, y'all, because it's only a couple months away. We'll be having fantasy football drafts, real drafts. But in the meantime, it's a good time to do some mock drafts with the real thing still a few months away. So that'll be the theme of today's episode, reviewing a mock draft that I conducted last night with 11 other experienced fantasy football players, all loyal members of the Guru Nation over on Instagram. So appreciate everyone that did that and appreciate everyone here that's tuned in this afternoon. Glad y'all could make it. LSU Tigers won it all last night. That was fun to watch. Tigers bounce back in a big way over Florida in the deciding game 3 of the College World Series finale. And speaking of that, let's get to our headlines here before we recap the mock draft. LSU wins, like I said, wins their seventh baseball national title in program history. Really dominant effort, must say. You know, they didn't even need Paul Skeens, their ace pitcher. Skeens was available if needed. He was warming up early as they gave up 2 early runs, but they're able to dominate there. Their lineup, very strong. Dylan Cruz and company from top to bottom all did really well. Cool to see Jordan Thompson, shortstop Jordan Thompson, bounce back because he had a rough game 2 and came back with a vengeance in game 3. Got 3 RBIs to help in the winning effort. Gavin Dugas, big game. Cade Beloso. Congrats to the Tigers. Baseball champions. One of the greatest college baseball programs of all time, back to its former glory. And I mean, it hadn't really fallen off. I mean, it had been a few years since the Tigers had won it, but not that they were in like really a drought per se, but just but it had been a few years since they had won the whole thing. So yeah, good to see them get it done. And Jerry in the building. What's up, Jerry? Congratulations, LSU. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, they earned it. They were the preseason favorites, the betting favorites for most of the year. However, the odds shifted. The final months, Wake Forest became the betting favorite, and they ended up matched up against each other in the semifinals, where LSU ended up winning that one in 3 games, that series there, to get to the finale against Florida. And of course, LSU took game 1. Game 2 did not go according to plan, the 24-4 blowout victory for Florida, but game 3 went according to plan for the Tigers with a double-digit win of their own to win it all. So that was fun to watch. We'll be turning the page to football season now with, LSU. Gonna be interesting to see how to trend with a second-year LSU head coaches. Kim Mulkey, second season, women's basketball wins it all. Jay Johnson, second season, LSU wins it all. We'll see if Brian Kelly can follow that up in his second season on the football side. But we'll have plenty of time to break all that down. College football futures odds are out there on the market over on Caesars. And speaking of Caesars, I want to shout out our sponsor, Caesars Sportsbook. Make sure to head on over there. Use our free promo code NOLAFULL if you haven't already to take advantage of the deals Caesars has to offer for those looking to get into sports betting and such. So, but to continue with our headlines here, DeAndre Hopkins, his free agency tour is in limbo. A lot of people thought he'd sign relatively quickly after his release from the Arizona Cardinals, but it has not been smooth sailing as far as finding a team like he thought it would be. Not really much interest from teams like the Chiefs and the Bills, teams that most people assumed would be all in to get the Pro Bowl wideout, who, while he's still got some gas left in the tank, he's getting up in age. And the thing I think that's scaring these teams off more than anything is the amount of money he wants. He's wanting to get paid still like he's a star receiver, but at this point in the free agency process, most teams don't have that kind of money to pay out to a guy like him, or to Dalvin Cook, who was released more recently than Hopkins, but he's in the same boat, it feels like, just having trouble landing the kind of deals they want, to where they're probably going to have to just settle for a team-friendly deal or sit out. I don't think anyone's going to give these guys big money unless someone's going to can free up some space in order to sign him. What might end up happening is someone suffers an injury in training camp or the preseason. That might be what they'll do. They'll just wait it out. And if someone suffers a major injury to a key receiver or running back, then boom, there's your landing spot for Cook or Hopkins. But if they plan on doing that, they're going to be waiting a while because training camp's not till July. So in the mid to late July, so they're going to be waiting several more weeks unless they're willing to just sign now and take a more team-friendly contract. But speaking of trades, John Collins was traded to the Utah Jazz as the Hawks look to free up cap space. Big move there in the NBA with free agency on the cusp. Hawks are a team that didn't live up to the hype last year. The Jazz are a team that's on the rise, decided to make a big move there. We'll be interested to see how that shakes out. But as far as our local teams, Saints conclude OTAs. Got some takeaways there up on NOLA.com from our Saints riders. Jeff Duncan, Rod Walker, Taryn Walk were present at OTAs and gave their takeaways. And it was interesting to read about who they thought were the standout players. You know, Chris Olave and Alante Taylor were both on the list. Both made highlight plays there. Second-year receiver and cornerbacks. But for the full scoop, go check that out, NOLA.com/sports/Saints. And also give your thoughts on Saints OTAs. Did you think they went well? How do you think Derek Carr did? And so let us know what you think. So far, so good as far as Derek Carr. All positive comments. Peyton Manning recently commented saying he feels like Derek Carr is a good fit in New Orleans. So all good vibes so far surrounding Carr and the Saints offense. I mean, honestly, the thing that I'm a little worried about with the Saints is defense. Saints defense could, I'm not saying it's going to be bad, but do have some holes there that could potentially be worrisome with the departures of David Onyemata and Shai Tuttle, the defensive tackles, as well as Caden Ellis at linebacker. So we'll see how it ends up. But as far as the Pelicans, the NBA draft was last week on Thursday, and the Pels selected Jordan Hawkins out of UConn, the cousin of Angel Reese. So pretty cool to see that. Yeah, he'll be coming to Louisiana to join his cousin, Angel Reese. Of course, has 1 year left of eligibility. She'll be an LSU Tiger again next year. So we'll see what Hawkins can do. He's a three-point shooter. We'll see if he can give the Pels a good spark off the bench. He'll likely be off the bench to start the season because the Pels didn't end up making the big trade. Many thought the Pels would make a huge move to go get Scoot Henderson, the rookie point guard that ended up going third overall to the Portland Trailblazers, which has now sparked Damian Lillard trade rumors. Now that they've got Scoot Henderson there in Portland, is Scoot the future? Will they push Dame out, or will they try to have them coexist? Will be very, very interesting. This NBA offseason, I can just see from the headlines and all, it's going to be a wild one. There's a lot of dust to be settled. James Harden probably will be the first domino to fall, if I have to guess. And once he signs, that's gonna cause a whole shockwave of reactions throughout the National Basketball Association. But it'll be fun to watch. I mean, you never know. Zion, Brandon Ingram, I would think they'll stay with the Pelicans, but if things get crazy, the Pels might try to take a swing. But as of now, I would think they'll keep the core in place there with Zion and B.I. Might change up some of the other stuff. You know, it wouldn't shock me if Jonas gets moved. I mean, Jonas Valanciunas, he's a fan favorite, fun player to watch, but he kind of took a step back last year. He was really good in his first year with the Pels last year. I wouldn't say he was bad, but he didn't really improve. So I can maybe see them shaking things up. Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, both appear to be locked in there as key pieces. CJ McCollum, of course. Yeah, I don't see him going anywhere. He's the leader of the Pels, I'd say. So, yep. So, yeah, comment your thoughts, questions. If y'all don't have any about the Saints, Pels, LSU, we'll move on to recap this mock draft here on the Fantasy Roundup. It was a really good one. Had some heavy hitters in this thing, and it made it really tough to draft a good team. It was a 12-team PPR mock draft. We conducted it last night live, and we're going to recap it here. It's oh yeah, and by the way, for those wondering, Gabe Henderson, our usual co-host, is out today on vacation, and Zach Ewing would normally fill in, but he's on his way back from Omaha. As y'all saw, Zach was out there for the whole duration of the College World Series which ended up being, I believe, 11 days since LSU made it all the way and ended up playing the game 3. So Zach will be back soon. Me and Zach will be back on Thursday with Bayou Bets. Jim Derry is, I don't know if he's on vacation yet, but he's about to leave, I'm pretty sure, to where he'll be gone for a couple weeks, recharge his batteries for football, and then we'll be back with, with the regular scheduled programming once we all get done with vacations. I think Jordan Hawkins will be a really good fit, Jerry. I think the Pels need shooting off the bench. Everyone thinks of Trey Murphy, but I mean, Trey Murphy, I would rather Trey Murphy start, and then you could play a small lineup. If you trade Jonas, like I'm thinking they will, you could have CJ, Herb, Murphy, Ingram, and Zion as the starting 5. That's the way this era of positionless basketball is going. Just play Zion. I mean, he's huge. He's not quite as tall. I mean, it'd be like Charles Barkley. I mean, he's going to get plenty of rebounds. So, like, put him at the 5 and just have him be, like, the post presence, and then let those other guys space the floor, and then have Hawkins. He could be, like, the 6th man off the bench. Him and Jose Alvarado off the bench, I think, would be really nice. So, assuming everyone's healthy, which it's been a very rare occurrence that all the Pelicans players are healthy at once. But if they are, I think Hawkins will be a deadly weapon off the bench. And then if injuries pile up, hell, he might end up having to start. And I think he'd be a good addition there. I think it was a good value at 14. He's a guy that was a key piece on the UConn national championship team. He's a proven winner, good pedigree. And so I'm thinking he'll be a nice fit. And yeah, for sure. That's the whole point of this. We're trying to get y'all prepared ahead of time. So by the time August does come around, we'll be ready. And then the ones that are preparing last minute, well, they'll be scrambling, and we'll be chilling and dominating. And I appreciate Steven for tuning in. Steven Moon, he was part of last night's mock draft. So I'm glad he said what's up, because perfect segue into this mock here as we go to review it here on the Fantasy Roundup, brought to you by Caesar Sportsbook. So let's start off with Steven. He's here. Let's review him first. He drafted at the 101, the first overall pick. So let's see here. Steven has, with the first overall selection, he went Justin Jefferson. He followed that up at the 212 with Mark Andrews, and then Chris Olave. He had back-to-backs there, both very strong picks at those spots. So great start for Steven so far. No running back, though, and he still didn't take a running back with his next back-to-back picks. Instead, he took DJ Moore and Lamar Jackson with those spots. Lamar, I think, is going to do really well. He broke that down last week. And then DJ Moore, not quite as high on him, but could do well. Very strong third receiver. And then he finally takes a running back, David Montgomery, at the end of the 6th round, followed by Michael Pittman, back-to-back picks there. And then he goes Samaje Perine as a second running back. And then the rookie wideout from Baltimore, Zay Flowers, pulled off the stack with Lamar Jackson. Then he's got Daniel Jones, backup QB. Makes sense with Lamar being a runner, probably a little more injury prone. Then he goes Dalton Schultz as his second tight end behind Andrews, and Devin Singletary, Raheem Mostert. Some more running backs there as running backs 3 and 4, and then Zay Jones to round it out. His last receiver, can y'all see that? Okay, yeah, Zay Jones to round it out. All right, yeah, it's a solid team. The only weakness with it is the running back room. Everything else is super strong, I'd say. I mean, he's got, and Andrews and Lamar. He's all in with the Ravens, which me and Gabe were both feeling the Ravens last week. So really like that about it. I think the Ravens are going to be a really good offense. The receiving core is really good as well, with Jefferson and Olave anchoring it, and really good depth. I mean, you have Pittman as your 4, Flowers as your 5. That's very strong depth. But the issue is, though, he sacrificed at the running back position. The running backs here are looking rough, if I'm being honest, because David Montgomery, he's going to be in a timeshare with Jahmyr Gibbs, the rookie, and Samaje Perine. He's going to be in a timeshare with Javonte Williams, the Broncos' young running back, and Devin Singletary. He's going to be in a timeshare with Damian Pierce, and then Raheem Mostert. He will be in a timeshare with the rookie in Miami, Devon Achane. And there's a chance they could bring in Dalvin Cook, in which case Mostert would probably get traded. So, Yeah, I mean, this is a nice team. Outside of that, I'd probably give it, if I'm grading it, we could do some letter grades. I might give it a C plus because everything else is good about it, but that running back room is looking really rough. I mean, if he had one good running back, I'd be more okay with it. But with no reliable running backs, yeah, I'm not really feeling that. But everything else about it's good enough to where you could still be a solid team and make the playoffs. So next up, we've got Team Santana, and he kicked it off by going Jamar Chase. He had the second overall pick, kept the receiver trend going. Pretty cool to see the LSU receiver duo, Chase and Jefferson, going back-to-back first and second overall in these fantasy football mocks. That's pretty wild, and I think that's realistic. I think they'll both be top 3 picks come August. So I think that's a sign of things to come. He also goes receiver heavy early, goes Jalen Waddle and then Devontae Smith, couple of former Alabama receivers there with his second and third round selections. Then goes Alexander Madison and Cam Akers, gives him a couple of running backs there. And then Trevor Lawrence at QB and Antonio Gibson, his third running back. Brandon Cooks, good depth piece at receiver, is W.R. Ford and Elijah Mitchell. A good handcuff there. He didn't draft Christian McCaffrey, but a smart play to prevent the Christian McCaffrey team from getting Elijah Mitchell. Then a bunch of rookies here. Jonathan Mingo, the Panthers rookie wideout. Dalton Kincaid, the Bills rookie tight end. Then Rashee Rice, the Chiefs rookie wide receiver, followed by Geno Smith, backup QB. And then Kareem Hunt, a good dart throw. Kareem Hunt's still a free agent, but he plans to play in 2023, so he could end up being a good pick there if he signs with a team that has carries up for grabs. So this one looks decent. Thing that scares me though is only tight ends Dalton Kincaid are rookie. Rookie tight ends generally don't produce right away. I really like Kincaid in dynasty formats, but in redraft formats, he scares me because they still got Dawson Knox over there in Buffalo. So that gets it a little knocked down. The receiving core, though, I mean, Chase, Waddle, Smith. I mean, that 3-wide set is just so lethal to where that he gets a C at minimum just because of that. And then he's got Trevor Lawrence. And then the running back room is decent. It's not that great. But I'd probably also give this a C plus because then get quite a B for me because I don't really trust Madison as a number 1 or Akers or Gibson. They're all pretty solid. They're definitely better than the first team's running backs, but the first team had Mark Andrews at tight end, a huge positional advantage there where this team doesn't have that to where it's solid, but could use some work in my opinion. So let's move on to the third team here. John the Bolt. Shout out to John. He does a lot of mocks with me. He's usually drafts well. Let's see what he cooked up here. He's got Christian McCaffrey as his first running back. He went running back heavy. He goes CMC, Breece Hall, and Najee Harris. Damn, that's a really good running back trio. He follows that up with Calvin Ridley and Jalen Hurts. Then goes Mike Williams, Mike Evans, Kadarius Toney, and Michael Thomas. Okay, Michael Thomas going there in the 9th round. Then goes Jerick McKinnon, Tyler Algier, Tank Bigsby, getting that running back depth secure. Then Tyler Higbee at tight end, and then Gus Edwards as another running back depth piece. The only thing, he actually had messaged me last night about my thoughts on his team, and I feel like it's really good outside the tight end room, kind of like Santana. I feel like it's a little better than Santana's, though, because he's got the great running backs room, and he's got Ridley, Mike Williams, Mike Evans, Kadarius Toney. I mean, those all have potential. I mean, Ridley, if things break right, could be a top 12 receiver. Mike Williams, if things break right, should be top 24. And Mike Evans, even with the QB downgrade, should be at least a 3, top 36 guy since there's, 12 teams in the league. So I feel like the only thing he's weak at is tight end. I don't trust Tyler Higbee, being that the Rams, I think, are going to be really rough this year. And plus, Higbee's someone that's just not very reliable. So I'll give this one a B-. Pretty solid, but could use some work there at tight end. Next up, incomplete catch. We've got Cooper Kupp, Garrett Wilson, Travis Etienne, Terry McLaurin, and Christian Watson to start it off, followed by Isaiah Pacheco, James Cook, and A.J. Dillon. Evan Ingram, well, he gets a tight end, weighted on tight end and quarterback. He took Tyler Boyd, another receiver, and then Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Then Jawan Johnson, like that pick there, the second tight end. Jawan Johnson should do really well this year. Then it goes Jared Goff and DJ Chark, now with the Panthers, former LSU wide out there. So You know what? I think this team, like the depth, I like more so than the start. I feel like Cup and Wilson are both really good. Both should finish top 10, have top 5 upside. But, the second running back, some of those could do good. Ingram is the first tight end, though, a little shaky. Rodgers and Goff, they should do okay at quarterback. But I feel like this team, he did everything right on paper, per se. But I just feel like there's something kind of missing here. It's tough to say because I feel like it's just a personal preference thing, honestly. Like, he did everything right. So because of that, I'll give him a B minus because he did everything that he was supposed to do. I personally would have gone in a few different directions. But I feel like, though, this team's very good. It should make the playoffs, even though I personally wouldn't have gone Cooper Kupp at pick 4. But if Cooper Kupp's healthy, it's going to be a really good team. Let's see, Joseph here at pick 5. He got Bijan Robinson, Ramondre Stevenson to start it off with back-to-back running back, followed by Mahomes, George Kittle, DeAndre Hopkins, Rashad White, Deontay Johnson, Quentin Johnston, Juju Smith-Schuster, Jamison Williams, Rondale Moore, Roschon Johnson, Sam Laporta, and Josh Downs, all rookies there at the end. I like this team pretty good. It's just too young, though, for a redraft league. And then the receiving core, I do not like at all. I don't feel like Hopkins, we don't know where he's going to even be playing. Of course, the running back duo is really good to start, but to me, this is a C. I don't really like the way he built this thing. I don't like going in a single quarterback league. If you go quarterback early, then to me, you should wait on the tight end. Then he takes the tight end early, and then to me, his receiving core is pretty bad as a result. The running backs, Bijan and Stevenson should both do well. And, of course, Mahomes and Kittle. Those are all pretty safe picks. But to me, it's like he went a little too – none of those receivers really do it for me. Deontay took a step back last year. Quentin Johnston's a rookie. Juju, Patriots offense is very questionable. Jamison Williams suspended to start the season. So, not bad, but not one of them. Probably my least favorite team so far. And then I picked here at 6th. I got Eckler to start it off. I feel like I got Eckler really late. Austin Eckler, he was the top player in fantasy last year outside of Jefferson. He normally would go second or third, but fell to me here at 6, so I was happy about that. Amon-Ra St. Brown got after that, followed by T. Higgins, Miles Sanders, Drake London, Justin Herbert. Jamal Williams, had to get Jamal there. I feel like he's in line for a nice season, especially with Kamara's looming suspension. Then got a rookie there with Zach Charbonnet. And Cortland Sutton, David Njoku, Sky Moore, Jerome Ford, Marvin Mims, another piece in that new Sean Payton offense, and then Chuba Hubbard, handcuffed for Miles Sanders to conclude it. I was pretty happy with this team. I feel like I got Herbert and Njoku at pretty good spots, considering I didn't take a quarterback or a tight end super early. And then I feel like my receiving core is pretty good. I know y'all going to be mad at me for taking Drake London, a Falcon, but I feel like in the 5th round, it was a really good value pick. And then Sutton and Mims, I think in Peyton's offense, both of them could do well. Sky Moore, a guy, he's one of my favorite late round targets, being that someone's going to step up for the Chiefs. We just don't know who, but I'm thinking that someone could very well be Sky Moore. So, I feel like I did well. I'm not going to grade myself, though. If y'all want to grade my team, feel free to do it. I feel like, though, this team was very strong. I was happy with it, but let me know what y'all think about it. Yeah, give me an F. You can say it sucks. I'm not gonna be mad, but I feel like it was pretty good there. But let me know what y'all think. Give me y'all's honest takes. But in the meantime, let's move on to the 7th pick here. He's got Tyreek Hill, Derrick Henry, Josh Allen, T.J. Hawkinson, Jerry Jeudy, Christian Kirk, Javonte Williams, Brian Robinson, Gabe Davis, Rashad Bateman, Jacoby Myers, Greg Dulcich, Tajay Spears, and Dangerous Wilson. Pretty good squad here. Pretty good squad. He went quarterback, tight end early. I'm generally not a fan of that. At least he's got one really good running back, though, and one really good wide receiver. Receiver depth, a little shaky, but Jeudy and Kirk, 2 and 3, not bad. Javonte, Brian Robinson, RB2 could be an issue for this team. I like Tajay Spears, but more so for Dynasty. he didn't really need Dulcich since he already had Hawkinson. And then I guess it was smart to take Russ because Josh Allen being a mobile QB might be a little more injury prone, but it's another team I'd say in the C plus range. It's above average, but there's a few things I'd have done differently. That's how I feel about a lot of these teams. This team, team 8 was Manny's team here, but he had to leave early to where it's my bad, y'all. It's not showing. Can't highlight his teams. We'll just do it real quick. Jonathan Taylor, Tony Pollard, DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel, Joe Burrow, Alvin Kamara, Darren Waller, OBJ, Adam Thielen, Romeo Dobbs, Anthony Richardson, Darnell Mooney, Zeke Elliott, Gerald Everett. Yeah, I think he had to leave. I don't think he'd have taken Zeke, but he had to leave, I think, in the last few rounds. So we'll just grade through the first 10. It's pretty good. JT and Pollard, Kamara, good running back room, Metcalf, Salmon. The receiver room kind of weak, I'd say. Burrow and Waller, though, both very strong quarterback tight end groups. I'd say I'll give it a C. It's decent. B-Man up next. He's got Travis Kelce. Kelce went here at the 1-9. I'd say in pretty much every mock I've done in the past month, Travis Kelce is a first-round pick. If you want Travis Kelce, you got to pay up first-round value to get him. And we got Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Dalvin Cook. The free agent Dalvin Cook fell to the 6th round, but a very good third running back, I feel like, because he's definitely going to sign somewhere. And then Hollywood Brown, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, the top rookie wideout. I feel like a really good value pick. And Dak Prescott, his QB, takes him in the 9th. And Damian Harris, Kendre Miller, the Saints rookie running back, and Alan Lazard, Jordan Love, backup QB, and Jaden Reed, Packers rookie wideout. So I feel like this team checks all the boxes. He's got the great LC positional advantage at tight end. His running back room, very strong. His receiver room, not the best, but to me, it gets the job done. Cooper and Godwin, pretty reliable. And he's got upside there with Hollywood and JSN. And Dak and J-Love, decent quarterback room. Not amazing, but should get the job done. I give this a B+. This is my favorite team so far that I've seen. Normally, the teams that get early picks end up with the best grades, but B-Man at pick 9 really crushed this draft. Good job, man. That was a very good squad. Definitely going to make the playoffs. I feel like if this is a real league, this team is, even though the receiver room's a little weak, I feel like everything else about it is very good. Owen up next here. He started off CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, J.K. Dobbins, Dallas Goedert, Brandon Ayuk, Treylon Burks. Had a good blurb about Trey Burks today, saying he looks faster and leaner in OTAs than Jahan Dotson. Tua Tagovailoa, Devon Achane, Deontay Foreman, Nico Collins, Jeff Wilson, and Wan'Dale Robinson to conclude. Seems pretty good. Pretty good. Only complaint would be probably the running backs. Gibbs, a rookie, going to be in a timeshare to start. Then J.K. Dobbins should be better. Good RB2. And then Goddard a little high for a tight end. And Tua is, I think, his only quarterback. Yeah, that's risky, being that Tua is coming off the multiple concussions from last year. So the receiving core is really good, but other than that, I'm not a big fan of this one. I'll give it a C, but a strong C. Could maybe go C+, but giving out a lot of C pluses, so I'm going to say C for this one. I don't think it's quite as good as those other ones, but it's not bad, though. Not bad. No bad teams here. All the teams are at least C, I feel like. At least average, which goes to show that's probably why no one's really getting high grades, because everyone drafted pretty well, I feel like. Boston Sports Mania up next. Shout out to Andrew over at Boston Sports Mania. He's got Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams to start. A lot of teams going back-to-back receivers, and he goes a lot of running backs there. Joe Mixon, Damian Pierce, DeAndre Swift, and James Conner. I think it was Pat Freiermuth, George Pickens, couple of young Steelers pass catchers there. I think it was Deshaun Watson and Elijah Moore. Got a stack there from the Cleveland offense, and Chigo Okonkwo, backup tight end, and Jalen Hyatt, rookie with the Giants, Tyquan Thornton, young Patriots receiver, Chase Brown, young running back for the Bengals. Yeah, this one, I don't know. Yeah, Andrew, I could tell he was just trying to experiment with this, because a lot of these players, I don't feel like, I feel like he reached on a lot of these players. Watson should be better this year, but it kind of makes me nervous having him as I think his only quarterback. And then running backs like Mixon is your one, makes me nervous. Pierce should be a decent too, but I mean Swift and Connor kind of unpredictable. Diggs and Adams, obviously both very reliable, but I probably would have gone considering Adams is in a rough spot with quarterback situation there with the Raiders. I probably would have gone AJ Brown or Amon-Ra St. Brown over him. And then Freiermuth's okay. I don't think he's a real difference maker at tight end though, so I'll give this one a C. Not one of my favorites, but I can see where he's going with this. It could maybe be something. And our last team to grade any given Sunday, I believe that is. Let's go over him before we close out here on the Fantasy Roundup. Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, and Kenneth Walker, three-headed monster at running back to start it off. Then goes Keenan Allen, Justin Fields, Tyler Lockett, Jordan Addison, and Kyle Pitts. Then goes Kyle Pitts fell very far in this draft. Then goes Khalil Herbert, Rashad Penny, Kirk Cousins, Cole Kmet, Michael Gallup, and Rashid Shaheed to conclude it. Like the Shaheed pick there late. I probably would have taken Rashid Shaheed if he'd have been there at the last pick. I think he's got a lot of potential, but Chuba Hubbard, I took him instead as a handcuff. Shaheed wasn't there, but yeah, this team's pretty good. Keenan Allen as a number one receiver kind of scares me, considering he's getting up in age. Lockett, Addison, both pretty good, but yeah, the receiving core, not that great, unless Shaheed would have a huge year, which is possible. But you don't want to have to be relying upon a 14th round pick. Pitts, Kmet, I like the tight end duo because even if Pitts still struggles, I think Kmet's the top 12 tight end. So he's got that on lock. Fields and Kirk Cousins like that duo as well because if Fields gets hurt running, well, Kirk Cousins, he's someone that's a near lock to play all 17 games. So I like that as well. Running back room can't hate on it because it's all studs there. Saquon, Chubb, and then got Ken Walker there at the end of the third. That was value for a guy that normally goes in the middle of the third, who a lot of times I feel like gets overdrafted, but in this one, I feel like he went about where he should have gone. So I like everything about it except the receiving core. So with that being said, I'll give it a C+. I can't quite give it a B- because the receiving core I'm not a fan of at all. But Addison could break out. Lockett's pretty good. Maybe a B-. I'll be nice. B-. All right. I've given out a lot of C+. I'll give B- to this one. Good job any given Sunday. So cool. Well, yeah, that's all 12 teams there that were in this draft. Shout out to all of them that participated. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. For those that are interested in signing up for a mock draft, I host them every Monday on my personal YouTube channel, Spencer the Guru. So if y'all are interested in that, hit me up on Instagram, which is also at Spencer the Guru. We have a group chat that goes on where we do mocks each and every Monday around the same time, usually around 7 in the evening. So once again, thanks to all of them that participated, and thank you to you, the listeners, for tuning in here on the Fantasy Roundup. Couldn't do it without y'all. So if y'all have any other thoughts, comments, questions, please let me know before we sign off here. We've only got about a minute left. So, but once again, congratulations to LSU, the Tigers, doing their thing last night. And we got a question here before we sign off. Here we go. Scooby, looks like that is Scooby Taylor. I need help. I'm a startup Dynasty Superflex League. Someone offered me 105 in the main draft and 106 in the rookie draft, and I'd give up Bijan and the 2-1. Okay. I think I'd probably stick with what you got. That's actually not a bad offer, but I feel like Bijan is so ahead of all the other rookies that you'd be moving up. I'm guessing that 2-1's in the veteran draft, which really don't know dynasty leagues. It's usually have a veteran draft and a rookie draft. You'd be moving up a lot in the veteran draft, but Let's see. Justin Jefferson and Burrow are still on the board. Well, in that case, if you know you're going to get Justin Jefferson at pick 5, I'd probably do it, but I wouldn't do it yet. And I wouldn't do it until you know that you get Jefferson. Because if you do it and you don't know that, okay, someone like Garrett Wilson, A.J. Brown. Oh, yeah, it's super flex. Okay, my bad. I was thinking single QB. Okay, yeah, super flex. Jefferson and Burrow. Oh, Burrow, yeah, if you need a QB, yeah, Burrow. Okay. Shoot, I'd probably do it then because super flex, running backs aren't as valuable in super flex. I know that's a tough thing. Yeah, 2-1 would probably be. He'd be giving up 2-1. Okay, so it's on you right now. Okay. Yeah, think it over and just look at the board. If you feel like you could still get a solid rookie at the 106, someone that you could live with, then I'd do it. But if you don't feel like that, if you feel like the downgrade from Bijan to that guy is too much, then I wouldn't do it. Because, I mean, Burrow, if this Superflex Dynasty, Burrow at pick 5 is a steal. Burrow normally goes 3 or 4. So, to me, if you can do that and can get Burrow, to me, that's worth it. So, yeah, Stroud gives JSN. Yeah, I think I'd take it. That's actually a good deal. I'm normally not a huge trade advocate, but that, considering how valuable Joe Burrow is in a dynasty startup super flex, to me, that's worth the deal. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for today. Appreciate everyone that tuned in, and we'll be back next week with Gabe Henderson with a brand new Fantasy Roundup episode. But until then, this has been Spencer the Guru Urquhart. Thanks again, y'all. We'll catch y'all later.